Boys, look who it is.
How's it going, everybody? I am Jim, and that over there is John, of course, the two beardliest podcast hosts on the internet for the most. I'm just going to say it. Like, on the whole internet, we have the most beard per host. Yeah.
So,
Well, we really appreciate you guys joining us this week. It is episode 14, or 6 again. It's one of the two. But we've got a few things to talk about, and our main topic is actually a viewer-submitted topic. So if there's ever something you guys want to see us talk about, please let us know, and we will be more than happy to do it.
Something.
Yay! You're helping! But you did allow us to go straight back into talking about Black Rock Mountain, so thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So,
Really just had the weight of the whole podcast on its shoulders, just
right?
Earth ours and just carrying us since week one.
So we have two fairly decent accomplishments that occurred this week. Okay, we're going to talk about both of them. I'm going to get my turn to gloat, and Blevins will get his turn to gloat and show off a little bit for you guys. So we'll start with Blevins, since his is far less significant and important.
That's true.
And Mr. Blevins, congratulations, sir. You are 8-0. You are what?
Woo!
Ranked third in North America. Number three.
4 in the world.
Yes. So, and that's obviously in the pleb bracket, literally the
Yeah.
amateur bracket. But nonetheless, he's done everything he possibly can to get himself into the finals and pretty much just like qualify for BlizzCon as a result of this tournament.
I mean, that's not the case yet.
No,
But,
you've done everything you can up until this point.
Oh,
like
that's true.
You've got
I
plenty to
haven't-
do, but
I still got a lot to do, but yes, I've done every possible thing I could. Good.
So I think at one point last week you were talking about how your opponent was like ranked 3 on the legend bracket or something like that. Like super well ranked. I can't remember. You can correct me on that. I'm probably wrong.
No, my opponent last week was like oh no, you're thinking of in real life tournament that I played.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay. You played against Dear Jason and got smoked.
Yeah, Dear Jason is a local player apparently. I found that out. He's also literally 15 years old and
Right.
literally crushed everyone he played.
Right?
It was insane.
I remember he traveled for one event, but they were like talking about how his dad had to come with
BlizzCon.
him. Oh, yeah, was it BlizzCon last year?
BlizzCon. Yeah, he was talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's I mean, when you think about it, like when you get older, you're like 15. That's so young. But then you think about being 15, you're like, yeah, you're not that young. You're in high school.
Your brain is fully functioning, and if
Your
you
brain
have a
is fully
talent for
functioning,
something
and-
like card games, it'll show
Yeah,
through.
and honestly, this kid is gotta be in all the advanced classes and whatnot. So his like math brain is about as strong as it's ever been. And way stronger than mine is now, considering I haven't been in a math class in 8 years or whatever. But yeah, no, he really impressive. I wanted to get some contact information, like a Twitter or Facebook, and he goes, "No, I can't give you that." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because I don't have them because my mom won't let me make Facebook or Twitter." I'm like, so it is what it is.
Not
But yeah,
not the way that conversation usually goes.
not quite.
No, you just usually like get the Twitter handle.
Yeah, it usually is. But yeah, the NVIDIA tournament, they finally announced what it's going to be. Not this weekend, next weekend is the America's playoff bracket, and they announced everyone who got 6 wins or more is in the playoffs, which is, I guess, kind of a good thing for everyone that got 6 wins. Single elimination, cut to top 4. So I don't know how many people it is. I think it's over 256.
I think it's 256 on the nose, didn't they say?
What we were talking about before was a post they made that wasn't an official post, I guess, and then they changed it.
Gotcha.
It was just the top 256 players make it, but they probably got too many people complaining, like, hey, this guy who had the same record as me, he qualified, but I didn't. Who do I complain to about that? And they're just like, you know what, everyone that got 6 wins gets in. So.
Yeah, people that have like never played in a card tournament before.
Yeah, people that don't understand how tiebreakers are or what they mean or anything like that just can't deal with that. So
the bubble is real.
Yeah, NVIDIA probably was just like, you know what, we're not going to deal with this. Just everybody, everyone, get in here. So that's basically what they did for this playoff tournament. So I've got a top 4 of that. When I top 4 that, I will be in the global playoffs, which is where the pros and the schmoes finally fuse together. There's 16 amateur spots, so 4 from America, 8 from EU, and 1 from Russia, 1 from Korea, 1 from Asia, and 1 from the other division that I can't think of off the top of my head. Probably South America or something. I don't know.
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil. But those 16 players will be in the same bracket as the 16 pros, which I didn't actually check the pros. I don't know if there was only 16 pros or if it's just the top 16 pros. I'm not sure. Whichever it is, 16 pros are going to be seeded rank 1 through 16, and the 16 amateurs are going to be ranked 17 to 32 randomly. So it doesn't actually matter if I'm first or last in terms of that. I am going to get seeded randomly.
Yeah, and either way, you're going to BlizzCon and championship.
That's not true. You actually, so if I make that top 16, I get an NVIDIA tablet, which is nice. I then need to, and this 32-person finals is double elimination. So you need a top 16. If you top 16, you get $500. If you top 8, you get 1,000, I think. No, 1,500. If you top 4, you get 2,000. I don't know. First place gets 10,000. First place gets $10,000. 100 BlizzCon points, which I'm pretty sure will just qualify you for BlizzCon.
That's what I think it does. It's a lot.
I can't imagine enough people getting that many points for it not to be good enough. But maybe it isn't. I don't know. That would suck if it isn't. But it at least gets you a spot into the last chance qualifier, which is nice. And an NVIDIA Shield tablet. So not a bad haul. If I don't lose from now until June 10th, I'm going to have $10,000 in my pocket. So and a Shield tablet and all the other stuff.
Well, you have me to test with, so
Yes,
I can't see how anything could possibly go wrong.
Oh, yes, and that also reminds me, shout-outs to Mackenzie's and to Karma for shipping me some good handlock information on Twitter the other day, yesterday. Karma is the queen of handlock, and Mackenzie's plays a lot of handlock, so I tried to get some info from the experts, and I got some, so shout-outs to them.
What was that about information from experts?
Information
Did you?
From experts.
So.
I just attacked myself with Harrison. I didn't even try for that segue. But it works so perfectly.
It really does. So Blevins is streaming the other day, and he's like playing Paladin in Arena, or I don't know exactly what was happening.
I just brought it up because I was talking about it with some friends before. But...
Oh, okay. So it basically the conversation, the question boiled down to what do you take first pick in Arena? You have Dr. Boom, and you have Tyrion. And everybody's just like, Dr. Boom, Dr. Seven, always, Dr. Balanced has to be. And I'm just like, guys, like, Tyrion's phenomenal. Like, he's really good.
Everyone's saying Tyrion except for me. I was the underdog here. I
don't know that was true. I seem to remember, like, it was like Lucids and Dragon Rider were hanging out. They were both on the Dr. Boom bandwagon. We tweeted, and Blevins is like, I don't think Tyrion's better than Sunwalker. Like, I would rather have Sunwalker than Tyrion right now.
How much better is Tyrion?
There were some pretty outlandish things said about Tyrion Fordring.
Things that were probably done for the sake of the entertainment value of the
Yes,
stream.
There's no doubt about that, but they were said nonetheless.
Yeah. And I go, and then you're in the chat just bringing up arena guide after arena guide saying that Tyrion is the best card in arena, and I'm like, these people are idiots. All these people that you're showing guides, they're all morons. I'm better than all of them.
What website is that? I don't understand.
And I go thinking on top of my high horse, thinking I can't ever be quelled. I go, you know what? I won't believe anyone you post unless you get literal Crip and literal Masan to message me on Twitter saying that I'm wrong. I will not believe you unless one of those two people, and only those two people, say something. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm covered here because A, they're probably going to agree with me anyways, and B, they're not going to respond to two schmucks like us on Twitter. So I'm golden. I'm golden here.
Well, the best thing about Twitter is you can get anybody to respond to you, no matter how big of a schmuck you are. So I instantly, as soon as he says it, I go to Twitter and I'm on our show account and I tweet at the guys, and I'm like, help settle an argument between co-hosts, Tyrion or Dr. Boom in arena, and I will read you the exact responses. And like in the meantime, now I'm kind of on board with Blevins at this point, thinking there's no way I'm actually going to like get a hold of these guys and get them to say anything. So at the same time, Falcone Punch answered the question, and he was like, he was in the Blevins camp. He was like, Dr. Boom. And to be fair, no matter what, like, it's close.
No wrong
right. You're not like taking a bad card. Like, it's close, but there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer. And we're talking about it anyways. And we're going, and I like message Educated Collins because he's so big into arena. I figured he would have some insight. And he had it split. He's like, if you're really aggressive, you go Dr. Boom. If you're controlling enough to use the weapon, you go with Tyrion. So okay. And then I go to sleep. I wake up the next day and I'm at work and I like didn't even think to check it because I'm just in my mind it was over and done with.
It was just thrown in the garbage.
I log into Twitter and I'm just like, oh my god! And all Kriparian says is Tyrion. He has no other comment. He's just like, what's the situation? No, he's like, screw it, Tyrion. And Masan, Tyrion better than Dr. Six. So he's taking a mana off of Dr. Seven and making him cost 6 mana and still picking Tyrion in his tweet. So it was literally just the greatest situation that could have come from that. It was a whole lot of fun.
Thoroughly Shrek. This is your payback for losing Stump the Blevins for so many weeks.
Right. It was definitely a victorious moment for me.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. I'm not gonna. It was pretty sweet. Getting so thoroughly owned. It was pretty great.
He's now Blevins is now resting in pepperonis, and
I am.
well played, sir. I think was your.
I respond back to the whole thing and just go, well fought.
I can see. Yeah, it was definitely a good time. So we thought we'd share that with you in case you guys don't follow us on Twitter and didn't catch most of it happening anyways. So our user submitted, definitely do follow us on Twitter. I got this. Boom, right over there. Nailed it. Just
like up here, I think.
Yeah, that's you. Oh, I'm over here. Yeah.
Ooh, got it.
Yep. But the show is over here, and that's where that all happened. So, all right. So the user submitted topic this week was people wanted to see us compare Naxxramas versus Blackrock Mountain and basically battle them together and determine a winner.
Yes.
So we think we have an answer, but we're going to step you guys through the process one by one as we take a look at some of the cards here. So, John, as I step through them, I'll let you kind of explain the cards a little bit here. And if some of them used to be more played than are now. I think they're mostly the next page, but yeah. Anyways, I'll let John go through them here.
Yeah, so we start out with the staple now. It's a staple in a lot of decks, actually. The Haunted Creeper, the 2-mana beast, a 1/2 2-mana beast that says Death Rattle, summon 2 1/1 spider things. Spectral spiders, spider monsters, spider warriors, spider things. Spiders. They're not beasts. That's all that you need to know.
Right.
This card has really shaped a lot of early aggressive decks. It's been in almost every Hunter build since it came out. It's in Zoo, it's in all sorts of stuff. It's just been a staple card for aggressive decks, and even mid-range decks tend to run a Haunted Creeper now and then. It just gives you so much bang for your buck. Having the extra bodies makes cards like Defender of Argus and Direwolf Alpha and all those cards that give multiple minions power boost. This card just gives you so many bodies for one. It also, if they commit any amount of resources to kill the first half, they're actually dealing with more power on the second half. So a lot of people, especially back when the card first came out, people are like, oh, I gotta kill this minion. I'll attack my minion into it, and then not thinking that, oh, I actually just put an extra power on the board. That doesn't make sense at all. So should I not attack with it? And then, it just creates this whole situation where if you're playing the Haunted Creeper, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it's a really strong turn, too.
Yeah, and it's a neutral card, so any deck can use it. Really, really a staple card.
Resilient minions, like sticky minions that stay on the board after they die.
I feel sticky.
Those cards have...
not your card. Leopard Home's not your card.
I didn't even know that's what card it was, so it's not. But what I was trying to say is, like, they've always been kind of a staple to the game, like the ones that have an effect and put something on the board after they die. Even like, a card we're going to mention a little later, but Nerubian Egg doesn't even have any power, and it still finds a way to make its way into some decks.
You want to pick this one up, or?
Yeah, you do next. I'll do BRM. That'll work.
Sure.
So this is kind of, so you guys know, it's like the in reverse order. Like, we're kind of showing you the best cards from each right now. The top 5. So these are number 5. And number 5 for BRM is Dragon Consort. I like that John included this on his list, since it was kind of like on the loser's end of the conversation a little bit when we talked about it. But I think he's... well, no, this was like... Yeah, this was 2 weeks ago. But it's a card that fell victim to, like, its class kind of falling out of relevance, and it will come back into play later on. But it's a 5/5, 4/5 mana that makes the next dragon you play cost 2 less. We found when testing it, it's pretty good with just it and one other dragon to get the full benefit out of it. So it's definitely a card you will see down the line, and maybe not something you've seen a ton of lately, though you have seen it.
No, hasn't really found its true home yet. The dragons, or in Dragon Consort specifically, just haven't really found a good place yet.
So in the first round here, I think definitely goes to Naxxramas.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah, Haunted Creeper steals it.
Haunted Creeper. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything else. Haunted Creeper wins this one.
So the next one is a Mad Scientist. So John, you can talk about that.
Another huge low-cost staple. Neutral low-cost staple might be the title of Naxxramas. Especially considering the old Undertaker. He was king for a while, best card in existence, not close, for a long time. But Mad Scientist was there to herald him in at the time. This card, I've seen this card in every class that plays secrets at one point or another. Even when Paladin doesn't really use the secrets, I've seen Paladin lists that run Mad Scientist and a hashtag secret package.
Yeah, like Avenge isn't bad. It's just a little awkward, I think. I don't know.
It's easy to play around.
Right, and if you're just pulling it for free out of your deck, then suddenly it's a different conversation.
Right. Especially when you're getting 3-cost secrets from Mage, you're getting a card that costs more than the 2/2 for 2, which you're already playing anyway. I've seen people kind of overlook this card because it's just been such a staple for so long. But this card is really overpowered. Like, it puts a card from your deck into play for free, for nothing, and you're playing a pretty efficient minion. I mean, 2/2 for 2 is not the worst, but this, like, compare this to the old Novice Engineer. I feel like putting a secret from your deck into play is arguably better than drawing a card.
Yeah. And
this card has better stats than the old Novice Engineer. Novice Engineer became a 1/1, and this card is still a 2/2. It's really tough. It's really tough, and like, especially compared to Loot Hoarder. I mean, you can't use this card in every deck, but Mad Scientist, it's overpowered. It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really
Lot-
strong. You look at, I mean, just every iteration of Hunter plays it. It's just a matter of what traps do they play. So whether you're aggressive, you're mid-range, control hunters will play it. Like if you're digging out snipes because you're playing some bad deck, it's still getting a good value.
got like rank 2 EU.
Yeah,
Rank 2
Sifka,
Legend EU.
Sifka could do that with like basic mage.
Probably.
And speaking of mage, the BRM card number 4 here is another class card, which was kind of the theme of BRM. So in my evaluation, I tried not to overvalue the versatility of some of these cards because they had their roles. You know what I mean? Like, so
Right.
their ability to do what they do is kind of how I ranked them here. But I think we're going to find
Flame
it.
Waker was a neutral card, it would probably be way up there.
Yeah, I have to imagine it would be near broken. Like, can you think of like the Chinese priest decks using that card? Be out of this world. Anyways, it's a 3-mana 2/4. When you cast a spell, deal 2 damage randomly split among all enemies. So it's a card that's done a really good job of changing the way Mage gets played. You add some different options to it. It's been a really, really fun card to play in my experience. It looks sweet golden, so I snap crafted those real quick the other day. And it's a card I look forward to playing with in the future. I'm not playing it much right now. Although there is like that pixelized mage deck. I don't know if you caught me streaming that the other day, John.
I did. I saw a little bit of it, yeah.
It's pretty good. I really enjoyed that deck. I just don't think I was playing it well. So I didn't want to do it at rank 5. Seemed like a poor plan. So yeah, another round to Nax Ramus here. Mad Scientist just takes the cake. Everything we said about it is just true. He's near overpowered and just great efficiency to it. Everything about it is just very efficient.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a card that gives you more bang for your buck than Mad Scientist.
No, but Flame Waker is much cooler, so there is that.
Yeah, that's true. The cool points are definitely... I'll tell you right now, the cool points are going to the Black Rock Mountain.
Yes, in both cases so far, I think.
Yes.
The cooler card is on the right side. So a different way to evaluate the set, but one I didn't really evaluate when I declared a winner. So we'll see if it keeps it up. Go ahead with your boring old Nax card.
Our next card for Naxxramas is the 1-mana 2/3 Death Rattle. The opponent gains 5 life. Zombie Chow. And we've kind of seen this card it's really take off in Priest with Auchenai Soul Priest, where instead of having a downfall, it actually just hits your opponent for 5. I have had my fair share of playing Auchenai and two Zombie Chows and then Circle of Healing to deal 10 to my opponent. I've had that happen a number of times. But even in the decks where it actually is just a downfall, it's just a really great way for any sort of deck to answer early aggression. As a face hunter player specifically, you really don't want to see your opponent start off with a Zombie Chow, just because it's going to get at least a card, if not 2 cards, out of you for 1 mana. And the 5 life, when you're playing against face hunter, all you want to do is make it to those later turns and get your taunts down. Zombie Chow allows you to do that. It allows you to build time. It allows you to really keep the board clean for your pretty big, your turn 4 play, your turn 5 play. It allows you to get to that point at a healthy life total with a pretty clear board, which usually writes a doom for the hunter opponent or pretty much any aggressive deck. Hasn't really been used in aggressive decks itself, just because it's kind of counterintuitive to do that, but it definitely works in the mid-range and control decks for sure. Definitely been an all-star, all-around all-star since it came out. And once again, we're in the cheap, efficient, neutral camp for Naxxramas.
Yeah, for sure. The 3 cards on the next side of the board total the the cost of Dragon Consort. So, but the BRM card here is Imp Gang Boss. It's a 3-mana 2/4. Again, But this one is a Warlock card that whenever this minion takes damage, you summon a 1/1 imp. So a card that was great for Warlock, and it was actually so good for Warlock that I think I actually give it the nod here. Because
I think I agree.
Yeah, because of what its intended purpose was. They both did a great job of fulfilling, but Imp Gang Boss did such a good job. For a little while, it pushed Handlock out of the metagame because it was just better to be in a more aggressive or more mid-rangey demon-style deck. And it really took Grim Patron coming back to almost dominate for a couple weeks in order to bring Handlock back up into something relevant to play, because you play so fewer creatures and so much more AoE that you just have a stronger matchup.
Ironically, the Imp Gang Boss is the one that has breathed life back into decks, whereas Zombie Chow is much more of a replaceable card. I've played Druid decks. I played the same style of Druid deck that have run Zombie Chows, and sometimes I cut it and run something else. It's all dependent on the meta. Your Imp Gang Bosses are pretty much in the type of decks that want to run Imp Gang Boss are going to run them until forever. There's not really a time where you really want to cut the Imp Gang Boss, but you might want to cut your Zombie Chow. So I'm gonna agree with you here, and we're gonna give BRM the fighting chance here.
Well, yeah, I think they'd have to create 2 more better 3-drops in order to push this out of Zoo, for example. So.
Right.
All right, so the next tier, the second best cards from each respective set, we went with some legendaries here.
Yes, the legendary Loatheb, the 5-mana 5/5 battle cry. What is his exact wording? Opponent's spells enemy spells cost 5 more next turn. When he came out, it corresponded with the dominance of Miracle Rogue, so everyone kind of thought, oh, well, rip Miracle Rogue, we're not going to see that anymore. Loatheb just killed it, when in reality, Miracle Rogue just played its own Loathebs, and now the opposing decks couldn't do anything to stop the Miracle Rogue. So really, it kind of had a reverse effect, and it took the nerfing of Leroy to kind of put that, the nerfing of Leroy and Gadget Zan to kind of put that deck to rest for the most part. But Loatheb, another, not low cost, but pretty low cost, efficient minion with a really unique and great battle cry. There's no other effect in the game that emulates this, and it puts the nail in the coffin against Freeze Mage and Druid. It allows you to have a turn where you're putting on a bunch of pressure, and you still get to play the 5/5. Then they can't play some sort of game-breaking spell that allows them to come back in the game. There's no, to quote Magic, there's no instant speed minions or creatures that can do anything against you. So if you play a Loatheb, they're not going to be able to play a 6-cost spell or higher. So they're not going to be able to Flame Strike you. They're not going to be able to Pyroblast you. They're not going to be able to, combo you off with Druid. It allows you to put a lot of pressure on them while also quelling their, response to your pressure. So, really powerful card in Loatheb.
Yeah, like you said, it was really almost felt designed to counter Miracle Rogue, but I think people really underestimated how versatile it was and how good it was in every situation, really. A lot of times I was just going to say, a lot of times you're saving it, for that pivotal turn, so you don't want to just let Druid have their 9-mana turn when you're at 13 life. That's when you just Loatheb and go, I've got one more turn,
Right.
So it's just got uses against everything. There's no decks, really, that don't, find some use out of spells. Even Zoo, you'd think they wouldn't care, but you play a 5/5, and they're more than likely going to power overwhelming or implosion it, and now that's not as efficient of a play. That's not a reasonable option. So
I have definitely, while I was playing Face Hunter, I'm like, okay, I've got him dead next turn. There's nothing he can do. Plays Loatheb. All of a sudden, I can't play my second kill command, and I can't play, kill command plus charge guy plus hero power. When a card has versatility against the two opposite ends of the spectrum, it has versatility against Freeze Mage and against Face Hunter. You've got yourself a card
there. Yeah, for sure. And moving over to the BRM side of things, we have Mr. T. Emperor Thorson is a 6-mana 5/5. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. Step 1, play it. Step 2, profit. I think is pretty much what the Oracle text should be on that card.
Yeah.
Really, really a phenomenal card here. Hard to believe it's not the number 1 card from BRM, but we all know exactly what's going to be the number 1 card, to be perfectly honest. So, but for now, Emperor Thorson is the topic of conversation, and he enables combos and enables plays that previously weren't possible. So it makes it infinitely more difficult to play around everything you need to play around. I think it's the 3rd time I'm bringing it up, but it was so epic that I don't even care. I had a turn where I Sylvanas, brawled, and then Grommash activated it all in one turn, and it was just the dumbest thing ever. That's why we call him Mr. T, because we pity the fool that can't kill this guy immediately, because it is over. He only doesn't see play in the most aggressive decks out there because their curve is so much lower that you would just top out at Lothab or top out at Leroy and let that be your finisher. So I give this round to BRM here too, John.
I'll agree with you for the sake of having it be tied going into the last round.
Well, I think, like I said, I think the next page is where the conversation kind of ends. I think it comes out pretty close to even here.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but anyways, here we go.
Yes.
The big boys.
The big boys. The
5-mana rares.
Yes, 5-mana rares. You'd think that a legendary would get there, but no, it's the 5-mana basic rarity. And it's actually, I think it's kind of funny because if we flop sides, I think you have golden Nax and I have golden BRM for this card. Golden versions. You crafted golden. Well, I'll just say it. 5-mana, 3/5, Sludge Belcher, Taunt. He also has Death Rattle Summon a 1/2 slime with Taunt. You have golden Sludge Belchers, don't you?
I do, yes.
Yeah, and I have golden. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, cue the sound, Jim.
Yeah, I don't cue it for you. You can just do it. You just use your mouth.
I want to talk about the card, but you know. But yeah, Sludge Belcher, it's really been the aggro killer since it came out. The aggro stop. Before, you've got Senjin Shieldmaster, but a silence. Well, I guess silence isn't a good thing to say. If you can kill the Senjin Shieldmaster, you've kind of gotten through it. The Sludge Belcher, you have to kill it, which already takes a bunch of resources because 3/5 is a little awkward to deal with. And then you have to get through another 1/2 taunt. It's going to stop, 3, maybe even 4 attacks from coming to your face and phrasing. But it's just going to do a lot to stop the aggression. It's going to do a lot to stop the aggression. It's used in a variety of decks. I mean, obviously, you're not going to want this in an aggressive deck, but, the fact that we don't see nothing but Face Hunter and Zoo and all these aggressive decks is in large part because Lothab, or not Lothab, Sludge Belcher has really put a damper on the most aggressive of decks, for sure.
Yeah, he's literally just feels like a brick wall. Like when you're just playing something with aggressive creatures and low-costed guys, you're like, oh, good, so it takes 4 of them to kill that guy. Great.
Yeah, and it's like if even against large minions, if they only have one large minion, it's going to take at least 2 turns to get through him, and that's if you have a 7/7 out, you attack it, then next turn you attack the slime, then next turn you attack the face. That's a lot of time.
Yeah,
that is a lot of time.
I think Sludge Belcher has the longest animation too of anything in the game. Like, nothing takes longer to happen than Sludge Belcher to die and then his 1/2 to come back up.
Yeah, it's like the best card against Patron Warrior, not because the patrons can't get through the Sludge Belcher, but because you will rope out because the Sludge Belcher slime takes 10 minutes to come out. The Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, so for real, plan around that. If you need to and you're getting close to the rope and you're planning on trading your Belcher away, like, know that you have to do that right away.
Yeah, you can't think. If there's a Belcher on the field, you just go for it no matter what, or you don't.
Well, we're going to take a look at the BRM side here now, and it's very clear that I think it's going to win this conversation.
Yeah.
Get in here!
It spawned a new deck, a deck that took over the metagame, and it has, it's not on. It did. Me and Blevins both love this deck. I play anything Warrior because it's just the way my brain works. I love the math involved in, like, the frothing berserkers and all the things that deck does. So it's just a ton of fun to play, and it's not even imbalanced either. Like, it kind of took over the meta because people needed to figure it out, but now Handlock came out. I feel like a lot of the priests are back to Auchenai Circle because of Grim Patron, and there's 2 equalities in Paladin decks, which Paladin decks don't see a ton of play right now because 1/1s just get chewed up by the never-ending stream of Grim Patrons.
Everyone, get in here!
So, yeah, round 3, I think, goes to BRM on this count. Round 5, yeah. The third win goes to BRM here, and it kind of takes this first screen of what has the most powerful, the best overall cards, or the highest impact cards, I guess is the best way to word it.
Yeah.
But then we go and we talk about the honorable mentions, the best of the rest,
Yeah.
And this is where it just there's not a lot of screen room left after I start putting up these next Rammus cards. All of them super playable. All of them, you know what they are. We barely have to read them, but I will let John kind of read through the list here since not everybody has the visuals.
Yeah, we've got Dark Cultist, 3 mana, 3/4. Death Rattle, give a random friendly minion +3 health. Before GVG came out, it was the only 3 mana, 3/4, I think, which is one of the best. It's a step down. It's -1/-1 from Chillwind Yeti, which is like the staple for good stats. And he has a positive ability attached onto him. Really great card for Priest. We've also got Death Lord, 3 mana, 2/8 taunt. Death Rattle, your opponent puts a minion from their deck onto the battlefield. I think this card kind of took a while to see play because people are kind of, really afraid to play a card like this because, the variance is wild. The number of times I've seen people put Savannah Highmanes into play is very large. But we've seen it in a lot of decks. The Priest decks are just playing it as a 2/8 taunt. You put a Velen's Chosen on it, and it's really hard to get through. We've also seen mill strategies play it where them putting a minion into play actually helps you out because there's one fewer card in their deck, so it's easier to mill them out. Really good card.
I'm just going to prep Vanish anyways, so I don't care.
Exactly. Or you're going to, exactly. We've got Deathbite, Warrior staple card. A lot of people, I myself just forgot that this card was in Nax Rammus.
Right.
I just assumed it was in the basic set. One of the best cards in Warrior. 4 mana weapon, has 4 attack, 2 charges. Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to all minions.
Durability noob.
What's that?
It's called durability.
Durability, whatever. I don't even know what I called it. Toughness, something?
Charges.
Charges, whatever. Yeah, really good, really powerful card. Enables a lot of stuff in Warrior. We've got Duplicate, the 3 mana Mage Secret that says when a friendly minion dies, put 2 copies of it into your hand. Has seen play in a lot of Echo of Medivh style decks and also even some Tempo Mage decks. It's another playable secret that makes all of your other secrets better because when your opponent doesn't know which secret is out, it makes them all better because they play around them incorrectly. A Duplicate is definitely one of the higher variance ones because if they know it's Duplicate, it's pretty bad. But at the same time, there are points in the game where you play a Duplicate, and then you play a Sludge Belcher, and they have to kill the Sludge Belcher, and you get 2 of them. So what do they do next? Probably prep concede. Next card, which we talked about a little bit earlier, is Nerubian Egg. 2 mana, 0/2. Death Rattle, summon a 4/4 Nerubian. This card is seen play mostly in Zoo, where there's a lot of effects that pump it up so you can get the Nerubian. It also works as a nice insurance play against board sweeps, because if a mage plays Flame Strike or a paladin plays Consecration, you're going to be left with a 4/4, which is a pretty sizable body to deal with, especially for 2 mana.
Shaman likes it too.
Shaman also likes it, and Paladin at times has played it as well. We've got the legendary, I guess, boss of Naxxramas, Kel'Thuzad, 8 mana, 6/8, which is arguably one of the better stat combinations you can have. Doesn't die to BGH, etc. This is, at the end of each turn, summon all friendly minions that died this turn. Just a complete house if you can get it to connect. If you have a board, you play Kel'Thuzad, you trade your board, you get their stuff back, they don't. Enough said. Next card is Shade of Naxxramas. 3 mana, 2/2. Stealth at the start of your turn, gain +1/+1. This card has really only seen play in Druid, because it's very good if you get it out on turn 1 with an Innervate. It's the type of card that we've talked about, cards that have unique effects that, maybe they're not seen as much play right now as they should be, but they very easily could see play later. Shade of Naxxramas, definitely one of those cards. Next, and you can kind of see this segment is going on very long because there's just so many good cards in Naxxramas. A lot of them neutral too, which is also worth noting. We've got the Spectral Knight, 5 mana, 4/6, can't be the target of spells or hero powers. Just a really, pretty efficient body, and very hard to deal with because they can't target it with spells and hero powers. So, all of those, normal answers that would be able to get a nice 1-for-1 with this card don't usually work. It's going to take, 2, maybe even 3 cards to kill this guy. We've got Void Caller, the Warlock card, 4 mana, 3/4, Death Rattle, put a random demon from your hand onto the battlefield. This card is one of the most annoying cards to play with, or play against, because, and Maddie J Mania will tell you, every single time it's Mal'Ganis. And if they get an early Mal'Ganis out and you don't have an answer, sometimes you just lose the game. And the problem with Void Caller is that, unlike Mage Secrets, or I guess any secret, this will trigger when it dies no matter what. Secrets, like Duplicate, will only trigger on your opponent's turn.
Right.
So you can't attack your Sludge Belcher into a Dr. Boom and then have the secret trigger and you get 2 Sludge Belchers. It used to work like that, but they changed it. With Void Caller, you can just, if you know that you have a Mal'Ganis and it's the only demon in your hand, you attack it into something, kill it, you get a Mal'Ganis for free. Pretty insane. Used in a lot of Warlock decks now.
Doomguard might be the best one, though.
Doomguard might be the best one because you can attack with it the turn it comes into play, and it does not make you discard the cards.
Okay.
Doomguard and Mal'Ganis are definitely the 2 notable ones there. Undertaker, not as good now as it once was. It used to be a 1 mana 1/2. Whenever you summon a minion with Death Rattle, gain +1 attack and +1 health. That's what it used to be. Now it's just +1 attack. The card defined Hearthstone from the time that Naxxramas came out until they nerfed it.
Do you remember when Tarmogoyf cost 1 mana?
I knew it was the second that that wing of Naxxramas came out, and it was for the number of months before it got nerfed. It was the best card in Hearthstone. I don't think anyone would really argue against that. Every single deck had to have an answer to turn 1 Undertaker, or it wasn't a deck. Just because, after turn 2, it's possible that your Fiery War Axe isn't going to be good enough to kill the Undertaker. You go turn 1, Undertaker, coin Leper Gnome. Next turn, play Loot Hoarder, which is not even that unreasonable to ask for. You've got a 3/4 on turn 2, as well as a 2/1 and another 2/1, 2 of which have Death Rattle. We could do a whole segment on Undertaker, but it basically boils down to, it's rewarding you for playing cards that are already good.
I almost quit the game during Undertaker.
A lot of people probably did quit the game. It made me want to play even more. But that's just because I love the broken stuff. I'm a scumbag. But enough said about Undertaker. Really great card. Not so much anymore, but was once a true champion. Definitely in the Hearthstone Hall of Fame, if it ever existed. Last honorable mention we have from BRN or from Nax. There might be some we missed, honestly, but there's only so much screen space. is Web Spinner, the 1-mana 1/1 beast for Hunter that says Death Rattle, add a random beast card to your hand. Web Spinner was the original cool class challenge to do, and then it got upgraded to Unstable Portal. But Web Spinner, just a 1/1 for 1 is not the greatest thing to be playing. But when it's got the moniker of Beast, it gains a lot of value, and also you can draw any beast in the game, and drawing, it's just drawing a random card basically.
And a random valuable card too.
A random valuable card. I mean, sometimes you get the Captain's Parrot or whatever, but even then, you still got something.
And it still activates Kill Command, no matter how bad it is.
It does still activate Kill Command, and it still can get +2/+2 in taunt from your Houndmaster. Is it sad that I remember what the card says and not the name of the card?
I don't know. I feel like I should start giving you. Well, we should switch it up for Stump the Blevins, and I'll do the
name of the card.
You do the impression, and I have to name the card.
Oh.
So it would be Stump the Death Blow.
Death Blow.
I don't know. We'd have to come up with a new name.
We'll see.
See if I ever win again in the next couple weeks.
Last thing I'll say about Web Spinner is that I have literally thought about playing one pirate in my deck just so that the Captain's Parrot can get something when I get it off.
Yar.
Yar.
You have to play a lot of weapons and then just have it be Dread Corsair, because we've both been playing with that card, and that card's good.
If we're playing a bunch of weapons, then we're not playing that pirate.
All right, so we're gonna go on the ladder.
Drink up me hearties!
We're going to play actual ladder with Hunter Pirates after and the after show. Yeah, we're gonna tank your ranking with that, so that way I can get Legend before you. No, it's your account. That was part of the idea, was to do it on your account. I'll be there to help, Dan. Don't worry, it'll go fine. Right.
I'm just gonna get queued up. It's gonna be against you in the first round.
I played against Matty J. Beat me at the end of his stream the other night.
Really?
Yeah,
awesome.
It was very disappointing.
Unleash the Podcast is 0-2 against Unleash the Podcast viewers.
Oh, but this week we both beat Silent Storm.
We did both beat Silent Storm. It was pretty sweet.
So that was a good thing. I also lost to him once, so it happens. Anyway, so moving on to the BRM cards here. First we have, I'll show you just kind of all of them quick. I think that's it. Yes, that is it. Okay, so Blackwing Corruptor is a 5-mana 5/4. If you're holding a dragon, you deal 3 damage. It's a kind of a neutral fire elemental. It's been really good for the dragon decks that want to commit to it. Hungry Dragon is a 4-mana 5/6. So it one-ups the Chillwind Yeti. And it's a really, really strong card so far. It's going to take some time. Like right now, I don't think mid-range is that strong, so it's been a little bit of a struggle for this card to find a home, but it's really good, and it feels powerful when you play it. And it's really kind of focused in on the classes where your hero ability gives you the ability to deal a point of damage, because it makes it so likely that you undo the battle cry of give your opponent a 1-drop creature. Another one here, Nefarian is a 9-mana 8/8. A card I was excited about it, but I only thought it would be fun and cool. Like I liked the idea of the effect, but I didn't necessarily think it would be great. Seeing more competitive play than I thought it would. There's Dragon Warrior out there now that's kind of establishing itself as a possibility, and that's something I haven't even played yet. For somebody who claims to know a lot about Warrior, I should play that archetype a little bit.
Seems decent.
Yeah, he's an 8/8 for 9. Battlecry, gain 2 random spells from your opponent's class. So not something in their deck. There's no limitations. Anything that their class could possibly own or choose to put into their deck, that is a possibility for you to grab with Nefarian, even if it's Totemic Might.
Yeah, even if it's Totemic Might or Shield Slam or...
Oh, I can't wait till the day I get like Shield Block, Shield Slam. It's going to be so good.
You're going to get like Shield Slam Charge and just want to kill yourself.
Another one here is Quick Shot. It's a 2-mana spell for hunters that deals 3 damage. That's it. And it draws a card if your hand is empty.
Chalky lived the dream in a tournament.
Of course he did.
Had no cards in hand, drew Quick Shot. His opponent was at 8. It was Trump, actually. Quick Shot it, drew the quick shot off the quick shot, and then hero powered for the win. Pretty great.
Super scummy. And I know you got to see Peach rage out about that happening to him the one time.
It was pretty great. It was like one of the first days that it came out, and Peach got wrecked. Quick shot weapon, I think it was. It was like even worse than the Jockey thing.
Yeah. Solemn Vigil here is a 5-mana paladin spell. Draw 2 cards. It costs 1 less for each minion that has died this turn. I've really enjoyed playing with this card, and it feels strong. Not as powerful as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to kind of break Paladin out of its shell, let a bunch of different options in Paladin get played. Turns out it's just a solid inclusion, and one that you can honestly do without if you don't want to play with it. It's not necessary, but a good effect for my in my taste, anyways, because I would want to play like a mid-rangey style.
Yeah, and I think both of us kind of fell into the same problem where in our minds, and like the way we conceptualize these cards is like, oh, well, this card's insane because you just go end of turn, flash this in, draw your 2 cards, and then you start your turn. Oh wait, you can't play spells on your opponent's turn.
Right.
So these cards, this card and the next one you're going to talk about would be insane in Magic because you just flash them in for free at the end of turn, but that's not how it works in it's not how it works in Hearthstone, sadly.
Or my favorite is choose not to block on your opponent's turn, so that way he blocks them and they die, and then you get the added effect. Nonetheless, though, still, it's drawing you cards. It's something that will find a better home as Paladin gets better as a class, and as the meta shifts in a different direction, you will see it again. Same thing with Volcanic Drake, a 6-mana 6/4 that costs 1 less for each minion that died this turn. Really strong in Arena. If you find a place where you have board sweeps, so you're reliably able to kill multiple creatures on your opponent's side of the board, he's definitely got some value to him. Even mid-range decks that are just bound to be trading. But the problem with that strategy, I find, is just that if you're if you're behind, your opponent's doing the trading. So he becomes a card that doesn't help you get back in the game. So he might end up being a little win more in the mid-range strategy, but definitely in a control strategy with board sweeps, he'll be strong.
Well, yeah, he might not necessarily be a win more in the classic sense where you don't need him. I mean, he might be able to help you while you're ahead, push that much further ahead and seal the deal, but he definitely does not help you come from behind at all. He also is really bad against Piloted Shredder, or maybe not really bad, but not great against Piloted Shredder, which is, the mainstay card in Hearthstone at this point.
Well, the last factor we have to look at between these two was fun factor, and this is really quick. John, what did you enjoy playing more, but Naxxramas or BRM?
BRM.
To me, I give this one an Naxxramas, but it was just, to me, I was so into waking up at 3:30 in the morning and clearing the wing before work, and it was just, I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. I really enjoyed BRM, but a lot of these strategies and the decks that were good to clear Naxxramas, I already knew them, and I just applied them to BRM, and they were successful. So it was a little less challenging, and that's what I really look for. I love doing the heroics and not net decking and really figuring out what strategy I need to be in. I think it helps me be better at building decks for ladder and things like that.
Yeah. So I think, after all of this, it kind of boils down to the question that I know I get asked a lot. I'm sure you do too. I just got $1,600 gold. Should I buy Naxxramas or BRM? What do you think?
Naxxramas, not close.
Yeah, it's really not close. It's definitely Naxxramas. So, for those of you listening right now, if you've got this decision to make, both of us agree that you should go with Naxxramas first, especially if you have a new collection. A lot of these neutral cards in Naxxramas have become staples, or have been staples since they came out in the metagame and in these decks. They will help you really strengthen up your collection across multiple decks. So if you're not really sure which deck you want to play, go for Naxxramas. The whole thing is great. It's also worth noting that you're going to be able to get, I think, 2 out of the top 5 best cards in BRM in the first wing of BRM.
Number 1 and number 2 on the list.
Number 1 and number 2 are both in the first wing of BRM. So if you really want to play Patron Warrior, and you need Grim Patron and Emperor, you get them both in the first wing. So get the whole Naxxramas adventure, and then just get the first wing of BRM.
I recommend saving up the cash for Naxxramas too, rather than doing it with gold, because you want everything, and you want it like almost right away as you get seriously into playing the game.
For sure.
I think it's best to just play the game. Do you like it? Do you feel a little addicted to it? Don't feel bad about buying Naxxramas, and tell your friends that you get to play the game too. Just pay for it. The value's there. It's like twice as effective as buying packs with money. It might be a little less fun because you don't get the addiction of opening packs sated, but it's the best bang for your buck. So if you're not going the free to play route, or if you only have a little bit of money to spend, Naxxramas is where you get your value.
Agree.
One more question that people ask all the time is, do I buy classic packs or do I buy GVG packs? So this really boils down to, well, what cards do you need? But in the event that you're brand new and you are an advanced game player, so you're not worried too much about, getting used to the mechanics and the abilities. You think you can learn the more complicated ones on the fly. To me, I think looking at these numbers here, just the ratio of legendary cards in the set, GVG is about half the size. The card pool is about half the size of the classic card pool. And there are only 13 less legendaries. Like 33 to 22, that ratio is really strong to me.
Yeah, for sure. I think what it boils down to, like you said, you need if you need a certain card, obviously open that pack. That's a no-brainer.
Right.
And I think that you almost always are going to need Dr. Boom. So you definitely want to. See, the problem is that at this current point in time, when you're doing arenas, you're getting GVG packs.
Yeah.
So if you're playing arena, you don't have. So if it's a person who's, like we've said, is good at strategy games, so they're not really worried about being bad necessarily, but they don't have a collection, best way to build it up is to play arena. And if you're playing arena, then you're going to be getting GVG packs, just naturally. So in my mind, regardless of the numbers and the ratios, I tell people to spend your gold on arenas. And if you enjoy playing arena, keep playing arena. You get better at the game as a whole. You get better at arena, which gets you more gold. If you have additional gold, then you go back and buy the classic packs, because you're eventually going to need those cards anyway. And then if you're just acquiring, if you get enough GVG, you go back to, you can't change. That's the problem. You can't change your pack in arena. You get GVG no matter what. You can't choose to get a classic pack. They did kind of add more classic packs into the mix with the watch a friend get a pack quest, so you still got those. But my general advice is play arena to get GVG packs, and then spend extra gold on regular packs. If you don't like playing arena, then you kind of look at what cards you need. But starting out, I would probably say get GVG, just because I think the most important legendary you can get at any point in your collection is Dr. Boom.
Yeah, and you can really quickly unlock yourself a decent mech mage starter deck. It happens really, really fast. So kind of your first, maybe 60 packs or so, I think we both would lean GVG. But no matter what, at the end of the day, it's what cards do you need? What do you want to open? If you're if you're in the situation me and John are in, and you're I don't even care about the legendaries. If I could just get golden rares, I would be the happiest person alive.
Yeah.
And, in that regards, I think GVG's better, personally. I don't know. I've heard people say that you're more the percentage is higher the way the rolling works, but I don't know that the information's public. But in the event,
I guess if that's the case, but I wouldn't think, because
well, what I'm saying is you end up getting more dust, right? Everything else being the same. In my mind, it's the same same chance to open a legend or open a not a legendary. I think you're more likely to get a legendary in GVG.
Wait, really?
Because of the ratio, yeah, I think so.
Well, no, isn't the like stated ratio like 1 in 20 packs or whatever? Like it doesn't. I don't think it has anything to do with how many cards are in the set, or I guess getting a specific legendary. Is that what you mean?
Well, it's definitely better for getting a specific legendary, I think.
Right.
But no, I
think that
my impression of the problem is that the equation isn't public, so we're not 100% sure. And I'm under the impression that it's not just purely 1 in whatever percent chance to happen. I think it's weighted by like wanting all the cards to be kind of equally likely to show up, things like that. Like I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe it is
how it works.
No idea.
Yeah, and I don't know that the information is even close to public, but generally speaking, I've always heard that your best bet if you're just farming dust is to go with the higher ratio of epics and legendaries with GVG. So something to look into and consider, and maybe do some research. Keep track of how many better than 1 rare packs you open in GVG over 10, 20 packs. I mean, it's a small sample size, but it's something.
A tracking service for pack opening.
That would be actually great to just get this figured out to a science and then put our names on it. But anyways, we're going to move on here now as we've hit the hour mark and we're moving into the home stretch. We're going to talk about the new big boy on the block here, unfortunately, and thankfully this will be a pretty fast conversation, I think, because the games are really fast, right? So you might as well not talk about it that long. We're unfortunately looking at a Hunter deck again.
Woo-hoo!
And it's very, very similar to Face Hunter. Plays a lot of the same things. You've got obviously the burn spells, 1 quick shot, and 2 kill commands, and the Wolf Riders, Arcane Golem, some number of those are in there. There are a few interesting additions, though, and that's Savannah Highmane, Loatheb, and Piloted Shredder. So do you want to talk a little bit about why those have kind of made their way in? Also Freezing Trap over the other trap. Explosive.
So at some point or another, I have probably played a deck that was maybe, well, if you don't count Quick Shot not being in existence yet, maybe 4 cards different than this at some point in my Hunter playing career. Piloted Shredder goes in and out of favor depending on how aggressive you are. Loatheb, Savannah Highmane used to be a mainstay in the Face Hunter version of the deck. At one point or another.
Best 6-drop in Hearthstone.
Probably Savannah.
Maybe Emperor now.
Emperor, yeah. But yes, we'll for the sake of it, we'll say yes. Savannah Highmane definitely in the conversation for best 6-drop in Hearthstone. But yeah, it's got the Face Hunter elements to it. And probably my favorite part about this deck just existing in general is that now it is much harder to get a read on what trap your opponent has. Before, if your opponent plays a Leper Gnome on turn 1, you're in the almost 100% that their trap is going to be Explosive Trap.
Yeah.
Now that's not the case. It could be Explosive Trap, it could be Freezing Trap. It could be, I guess it could also have been Snake Trap as well, because Snake Trap definitely shot up in favor. But, the fact that this plays Freezing Trap, it puts a damper to the patron deck. So if they have, no board, they can't go turn 8 Warsong Patron and then just clear your board. They now have to really try their best to play around the Freezing Trap.
Pray for a Snake Trap.
And just hope it's Snake Trap. But I think Snake Trap may just be completely gone now for reasons such as that. But the problem, so this deck is definitely, it's got the Face Hunter elements that we talked about. It's got a lot of damage and it's got it quick, so it can play like a traditional Face Hunter deck, where you're hero powering every turn, you're going face, you're going upstairs, you make them do the trades. But now you've got a bit of a mid to late game, whereas with a Face Hunter deck, you're just trying to get as much damage as possible through, and then trying to save your owl to get through their last taunt, kill command their face, and get there. Now you can play a little bit more of a conservative game and get more value with your piloted shredders and Savannah Highland mains, where now, Face Hunter could typically be a single relative ease with an owl. But the second one paired with another taunt is usually going to be too much for a Face Hunter deck to win with. Now with the traps, the piloted shredders, and the Savannah High mains, you've really got the legs to push through to the late game, even through multiple taunts.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting take on it. And I always I never minded the mid-range Hunter decks. I don't really mind playing against them, and I never really minded playing with them. But the whole class as a whole just kind of like leaves this bitter taste in my mouth. So I think this is a better step in the right direction for a healthy ladder. Like, this is, I don't know, this promotes more deck opportunities for like a builder, right? Like somebody that wants to like make something new. It's not so punishing, and it does a really good job because in this metagame you can't, Face Hunter couldn't win the Grim Patron fight. You just weren't going to outrace it.
It definitely could, but it couldn't if they had Armor Smith. If they don't have Armor Smith, the matchup is much more in Hunter's favor, but if they do, it's really hard.
Yeah. So, it just, the number of times you just get overrun, and now you have these later game cards, the Loathebs to shut down spells and give you the ability to push through, as well as the Savannah High mains. But you also give other decks time to kind of set up their game plan and make a decent run of it. So I think it's good for ladder health.
And the other note here is that your freezing trap is going to allow you to build a ton of tempo, especially if your opponent doesn't think it's freezing trap. There are definitely cases where, if you think you're playing against Face Hunter, which you very well may be, if they, go turn one Leper Gnome and then Abusive Sergeant or something, you're not going to
have that draw.
that draw happens with, most of this deck is just Face Hunter cards. There's only the 2, 4, 5 with not counting the traps. There's 5 cards that aren't in the Face Hunter list. The beginning of the game is going to be exactly the same. If they're playing correctly, they're probably going to be hero powering every turn. They're going to be playing Glaive Zukas, which traditionally were never in the mid-range deck. The Abusive Sergeants also not in the mid-range deck. There's a good chance that, especially if you're playing against like a Patron Warrior, they're going to hold back their Armor Smith and they're going to hold back their Acolyte of Pain in order to trade the board instead of attacking face. And if they wait too long, or they can't effectively attack your face with it, they're going to get blown out by a freezing trap. And the games where you misread the trap are just completely devastating. And especially with a deck like this, which is still going to have that speed and power to punish someone for a mistake like that. I really like where this deck sits right now.
Yeah, for sure. To me, I never mind when I can't avoid, or I don't have the luxury to test for a trap. I just have to hope it's right. But the times when I think I know what it is, and then I'm wrong. It's just, there's nothing more frustrating to me. That's one of the few times in this game I get legitimately mad. And it's mad at myself. It's like, you shouldn't have just been so stubborn to go, no, that's the trap it is. And thankfully, this deck wasn't super popular until the guys that were running it were number 1 and number 2 each on the same Legend server. And then it just kind of instantly took over because the word got out once that happened, and it was kind of done from there. But moving on, we have a streamer spotlight this week. Somebody both John and myself have found recently. I don't know if he's very new or not, but he's
I'm not sure how new he is.
He's new to us at least, and he's somebody we met. I think it was Ghouligosh actually sent me over to him the first time, and
it was Ghoulie.
Yeah, and it is Frost DB. He's a really, really entertaining guy to watch. He's he's from England, so he's an English streamer. Yeah, there's the word. He's an English streamer, and he's on kind of earlier on in the day. So if you have some afternoon hours. If you're in a similar time zone or in the U.S., that's when you're most likely to catch him. But really entertaining. He's a really dry sense of humor. I
love it.
Oh man, he's so much fun to sit there and hang out with Frost and watch his stream. He's one of the guys we've done here that I actively really enjoy being in their stream. We've done a lot of Blevins people, and this is definitely one that's both of us. But I don't get a ton of time to watch streams, and when I do, I hope Frost is on.
Yeah, he's great. The one story. Well, I mean, there's so many Frost stories because he'll always be like, "Oh, it's old Uncle Blevins in the stream. Everybody say hello to Uncle Blevins," which I love. He loves the beard. He hates the fact that he doesn't hate it, but he hates the fact that he can't grow a beard. And he loves our beards, so that's always a good one. But the one time he comes in, and I come into the stream, and he gives the oh Uncle Blevins, and then Ghoulie came in. He's like, "Ghoulie, the Irish Queen, love to see you here." And then Rev comes in, and he's like, "All right, everybody, get your stopwatches. It's going to be 13 seconds before Rev leaves and goes to another channel, just trying to get a shout out and then leave." Like, completely calls Rev out. Like, I mean, Rev stayed around. I don't know. I like you said, dry sense of humor. I can't tell if he's being serious or not. And oh man, I was crying laughing when he said that. And then Rev was getting all mad in the chat, and then he just was not taking it. It was great. Oh, I loved it.
It's super funny.
Those sorts of things happen all the time.
But I don't know if he's serious or not either, because I feel like that's not Rev's game. Like, he gets a lot of love, but that's because he hangs. He's like Asmo. He's hanging out in people's chat all the time. He's always gonna at least be a lurker if he can't sit there and actively watch. He's really good to the people he enjoys watching, and so I think I didn't hear that or see that happen, but you told me about it already, and it was definitely one of the things I wish I'd seen. I love watching Frost give people shit.
It was pretty funny. He also recently did a 100-follower, 12-hour drunk stream that I caught the tail end of. That was pretty sweet, too.
Well, 24 hours drunk sounds like the worst.
I think it was only 12.
Gotcha.
Actually, it might have been 24. I don't know. It was a long time. I saw him, I got the email notification that he was going live when I, started work, and then I came back, and he was still going. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, excuse me.
But, yeah. A really funny guy, really great guy. If you guys haven't already, please give him, throw him a follow. If you want to wait until he's live, he'll give you a shout out, which is always good. And give him a follow, tell him that we sent you, and spread the love.
Yeah, enjoy, because you will.
Yeah.
Go hit that follow button. He's probably not live right now, but nonetheless, he'll appreciate it. All right, so it's that time. If you guys have any questions, please Twitch chat. Now's the time where we're actually going to answer you. Our apologies for ignoring you all show, but we think it would be lame to the YouTube watchers and the soon-to-be what's it called? Yeah, iTunes listeners. So, get us questions in, and we will get ready here. We're going to do Stump the Blevins. It is time. This is where, if you're new, this is where I pick two cards in Hearthstone, and I shoot the name at John, and he has to give us an accurate impersonation of the card. John, Sludge Belcher.
Tom's feel funny.
That's my favorite one that he does, so that's the one I use for the example every single time. Now, I haven't been doing that well lately. I've got to be honest with you. He's definitely been...
10 weeks in a row or something?
Every one for it's getting close to 10 weeks, if it's not there already. So, I've officially said, to hell with it, I'm getting more difficult. The cards are getting less playable. And so be it. So I'm easing him into that a little bit this week, but you'll definitely notice that the card quality is lacking some here this week, and it's going to get tougher on him. So we'll see how he does adapting to it. All right, the first one we're gonna do, Cult Master.
Cult Master is, I don't know if I can do this voice. It's something like,
join or die, or both.
Join or die, or both.
All right, he got it. That's the one I told you at the beginning of the show. I had one. I don't know if you can do the voice justice, and you honestly did a better job than I thought you would.
Pretty sure that's a female voice, but I did it.
I can't tell. That picture is way too non-descriptive. But so you're definitely getting credit for that one. We're not going to ding you for a poor impersonation for sure. And yeah, you nailed it. Do you know what the attack is?
No, I have no idea.
Who's next?
It's like a weird laugh, and then she says, "Who's next?" Or it says, "Who's
okay.
next?"
Death again.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then
Again.
Yep.
Like I don't know.
Yep, that's the death. But anyways, he doesn't have to do that. He's just got to get one of them, and he almost always goes with the enters the battlefield. So. Our second card this week, John.
Yes.
Amani Berserker.
See, I've got a bunch of troll voices in my mind, so I think it's time for a little blood.
It's time for a little blood.
Damn it.
Yes.
So I kept them very arena playable this week.
Yes, those are both playable in arena.
Yes. What about the attack? You've got to know this one. I actually thought you'd do the attack, not the enters the battlefield.
I don't know, what is it?
Who you want me killed?
Who you want me kill?
Oh, who you want me kill? That's
Yeah.
right. There's like a bunch of trolls, and I can't remember which one is which in terms of what they say.
And doesn't really say anything on death either. So, no, still we have not found a better death than the Acolyte of Pain. By far, still our favorite. In fact, we keep it around just because it's that much fun to push the button.
Yes.
All right, guys. So we do have one question. Why is Lucid's dumb? Listen, we only do a 1-hour podcast, Zifa, so I can't really answer that right now. Hit me up in the after show. Maybe we can spend like 45 minutes or so discussing it.
We also have a question from Maddie, which is, what is up with this meta right now?
WTF with this meta? Yeah, that Hunter deck. That's what's up with this meta. The only other way to describe it is...
Everyone, get in here!
So, yeah, have a game plan for those two. But no, Maddie, me and him have been talking. We've both just been really, like, up and down the ladder this season. It's been kind of crazy. Like, he goes up to 3 and then he'll fall back down to 6, and I haven't fallen from 5 yet, and I'm sure I'm knocking on wood right now, but it doesn't matter because as soon as I start laddering next, I'm going to just drop straight out of 5. I can feel it. But we've just like had really good runs where we're like up really far. Like I was like a win or 2 away from pushing into 3 Monday, and now I'm 5 again, and it's just been like that all season for us since we've gotten to that 5 barrier. And I don't really know, man. It's still, this BRM business is new. People are still tweaking decks. They're still figuring everything out. It's just one of the situations where you have to be quick to adapt, and you have to be quick to be willing to tweak your list or to change at the moment, I think, in order to make that real push towards Legend. Like, the ability to play multiple decks, I think, is actually, for the first time, kind of being rewarded.
Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely some pillars, and we talked about them in our, was it last episode or 2 episodes ago, where we did the metagame breakdown. But there's been even some additional decks since then, so... we've kind of had some new decks almost every week for the past few months now, which is really cool to see those to pop up and spring up and not really see the meta stagnate. I think that right now the meta might be as, kind of coin flippy or as rock, paper as it's ever been.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to see like a wide array of decks at rank 5 and above.
Yeah, well, you're getting laggy, and we've run well over our allotted time here of an hour, so we're going to wrap it up this week. Don't worry, Lucids, we were joking. We do, in fact, love you, and we're happy that you hang out with us literally every Wednesday. The guy's here, so that's why we
Yes.
talk about him, because we like him so much. Someday we will get him streaming again, and you might see him as a spotlight, but he's got to actually stream. We're not going to spotlight him if he's going
We're
to
not gonna
just
spotlight
host
an
Revenge
empty-
for 4 months. Because that is who he's hosting. I see it all the time.
I know. Host Blevins for 4 months. Come on.
Yeah, or just Deathblow or something. Like, host the podcast. All right, guys. Well, we will get out of here. And if you're in Twitch chat, we always do the after show. So please do feel free to stick around. We will be hanging out with you guys for a while longer. I am Jim, and that is John. And this is Unleash the Podcast. So episode 15 next. Oh, and any Peach fans, I love that he froze just waving. Oh, he's back. All right. Blevins does have to miss a few weeks coming up, so we've all but locked up Peach for the alternate co-host. I don't think he's actually frozen at all. I think he's just doing it. Yeah, no. So expect to see some Peach on Unleash the Podcast as well. I know that'll get a lot of you guys pretty excited, and it should do a decent job of filling up our swear jar. So be ready for that, and maybe leave the kids in the other room on those weeks.
Maxnomic chairs, DX Racer chairs, and just like gold phones and all this stuff from the Peach swear jar money.
Yeah, we're gonna have so much swag, and we're not gonna share any of it with Peach. It's gonna be phenomenal. And I've got him not shaving too. We'll do our best to get some sort of beard on that guy.
Some sort of beard on here.
Yeah.
We gotta get him to legend too, though. We've got 2 weeks to get him to legend.
Oh man, we'll see. It depends. I think he's gonna have to do it himself. I think, because I can't. I don't know that I play Hunter any better than him. And if we only have 2 weeks to do it, I can't think of a better deck. So you gotta help him. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be there. You get him to legend. I'm not doing nothing.
I'll definitely help him.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you guys next week.
See ya.